Tatroba Sarvavastan Gatopiva Yasvare Pundarikaksham Sabaya Abhyantara Shuchihi Shri Vishnu Shri Vishnu Shri Vishnu. Please take the spoon in your left hand and put 3 drops in your right palm. And please say the mantra, Om Keshavaya Namaha, and sip the water. Om Keshavaya Namaha. Om Narayanaya Namaha. Om Madhavaya Namaha. This verse is a verse of purification. It says that whatever condition of life we're in, pure or impure, when we remember the lotus-eyed personality of Godhead, then we become purified inwardly and outwardly. And now, because Prabhupada liked it at fire ceremonies, we'll chant together the Sri Brahma Samhita. Did we provide copies to anybody who doesn't know it? Go straight ahead, take a sharp right, and at the very bottom you'll find a stack of Brahma Samhitas. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu discovered this Shastra at the Adikeshava temple when he was traveling in South India. And unlike today, when you can go to the copy shop and have it copied electronically, he was so enthusiastic about this scripture, which gives the essence of all Vaishnava philosophy. He had it copied by hand by scribes who used a metal utensil like a stylus, and they would impress upon palm leaves the letters and then put them in the sun so that the impressed part would show up as the letters. Did we find them? Or do we have to go to South India for the Adikeshava temple? Okay, for those who know, you can just follow along, and those who don't know, you can look on with somebody who has it on their phone, and when you get a paper copy, you can remember how fortunate we are to have high-speed printing. Welcome everyone, if you're here for the first time. This is a ceremony during which the participants make vows in their spiritual practices. And for me to begin, I first offer my respects to my spiritual master, Srila Prabhupada, who's seated upon the ornate seat you see at the back of the hall, called the Vyasasana. Asana means a seat, and Vyas means the one who organizes and makes available the ancient teachings that guide human beings to come to the highest state of consciousness. It's a big project, so there are a lot of literatures for him to develop and edit and make available to the world. And those who represent Vyas, who's known as the literary incarnation of the Supreme Krishna, it's the origin of everything, are given a seat of esteem based on their continuance of passing on that knowledge to others. The founder of this organization, and also the Acharya, which means one who teaches by example, as well as by precept, is His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada, who came to this country and then subsequently all other continents of the world and many other countries to pass on the original teachings. And he, Srila Prabhupada, started by distributing the Bhagavad Gita, which is a well-known literature. His is called Bhagavad Gita as it is, because, as he mentions in his opening remarks to the book, it's important to maintain the original purpose of the speaker of the book, who's Krishna. And one of the purposes of having a disciplic line, that is, students following teachers over many millennia, is to maintain the mood of the teaching and not to academically speculate about it and present some other idea, which we're taught in school, at least I was. Every poem and essay and book was open for interpretation. In fact, the more different the interpretation was, the better the grade. But that's not the case in passing on spiritual knowledge. It's meant to be passed on intact, without screwing out any new meaning, but being presented to an audience, a contemporary audience, in a way that they can understand. And that was the genius of our founder Acharya, who, although came from a different culture, he was from Calcutta, and although he had never been outside of India, he came alone to America, and he brought with him the manuscript for the Bhagavad Gita, but he also brought the Srimad Bhagavatam, first canto. And when he came to America, he was observant of the culture and found out ways to integrate the message of Bhagavad Gita and present it to the people of the time. The time he landed was around 1965. Do you remember what kind of culture we had at that time? Was anybody there? Yeah. We were there. Yeah, Maharaj is there. Hi, Maharaj. We were there. Neither was there. My wife was there. And it was a time of change. Of course, there's always change going on in the world, but much defined by the word counterculture. People were searching for something more, something like a romantic period where people are looking for deeper meaning in life and rejecting the status quo. It was a good timing, and he presented, did Srila Prabhupada, a plethora of ways that people could take to the practice of spiritual life, even in the mood of the counterculture. Part of the counterculture was that we should love one another. Try to love one another right now. Smile on your brother. Try to love one another right now. He named the Sunday program at his temples the Sunday Love Feast, which was very appropriate at the time. People thought that was great, and it was. And he'd also give classes. Of course, he gave very straightforward classes, but he also taught the chanting and dancing and so forth. So the first initiations that took place in our organization were those early joiners who had met Srila Prabhupada in a park in New York City, where he had taken up a practice of chanting in public. He would sit alone and he would chant the Hare Krishna Maha Mantra. And today, Ian, you're taking initiation into the Hare Krishna Maha Mantra. One may say, based on the teachings of Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, who says in the dialogue written by Kaviraj Goswami in the Chaitanya Charitamrita that there is no initiation that's needed necessarily, or he says rather Harinam, or the chanting Hare Krishna, doesn't wait for initiation. One may chant immediately, and one may chant in any circumstance or anywhere. And however, when one becomes serious about chanting Hare Krishna, having studied Bhagavad Gita and other literatures which describe the efficacy of the process, there's also a way in which it's highly recommended that one take vows. Where is it recommended? For instance, Bhaktivinoda Thakur outlines the process of initiation, and I emphasize the word process because it's more of a process than an event. And it begins, as is the tradition still for those of you who might be from South India and familiar with the Sri Sampradaya, with tapa. Tapa means that one recognizes that the material world's not my home. Samsaradhavanada lidhaloka tranaya karanyaganaganatvam. There's a way in which the scriptures, or the Acharya Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur describes how the material world is like a forest fire. We're burning in that fire. And in the Bhagavad Gita, Krishna mentions that the world's vyakta, avyakta, it's manifest and unmanifest. And it's not a hospitable place for the eternal soul. We feel a burning sensation here. And we're also moved along, and we don't like that, right? Say yes. Yes. Yeah, we don't like it. Say yes. Yes. So, tapa means there's a sense of turning away from the material world and taking a stand that I'm going to turn towards the spiritual world. I'm going to emphasize my spiritual identity more than my role here in the material world. And then comes Paundra. Paundra means the identification as a Vaishnava. A Vaishnava is a universal term, means somebody who worships the Lord as a person. When somebody recognizes that there is a God and I'm not him, which is a very advanced realization, then there are more details to be had. For instance, in the Srimad Bhagavatam, Sutta Goswami says, Vadamti tat tat vabidas tattvam yajganamadvayam brahmeti paramatmeti bhagavaniti shabdyate. The absolute truth is a dvaya gyan tattva. He's one. There is nothing else but God. Everything's God. But there's variety within the oneness. And that variety is Brahman, or the effulgence that is maintaining everyone and everything of the Lord. And then there's Paramatma, or a representative feature of the Lord who resides within our hearts, within every atom, and directs us, who's there to help us in fulfilling our desires while we're in the material world. And then there's Bhagavan, God at home, God with his own life and his own world. And when one has these understandings that God is a person, there's a sense of devotion that I'm a follower. So this marking urdhva, up, pundra, marking the forehead, it's showing that one's following the path of dedication to the Supreme Person. One's a Vaishnava. Vaishnava means one who worships God as a person. Then, after these initial stages, trying it on for size, turning away from the material world, identifying one as a Vaishnava, then comes Nama. Nama means you take a new identity. It's fairly radical to change your name. Just ask your parents how they like it. And oftentimes we find that people change their names for various reasons. Sometimes they're in trouble with the law, and there's a federal witness protection program through which you get a new name and identity and hopefully a place where nobody can find you. There's some sense of that in taking a new name as we start over. We start over with this sense that I belong to Krishna. The body I got and the ways in which I've been named I respect, but it's a different life. And there's a new life, which is the life of dedication to Krishna. And the name that you'll get today, spoiler alert, is Das. And that's the most important of all the names, because Das is a coveted name for those who have this sentiment. In fact, everybody, except for conditioned souls, have this sentiment, I want to serve Krishna. From Balaram, who's the first expansion of Krishna, to the Chaturvyuha, then Mula Sankarshan, then the second Chaturvyuha, to the Purusha avatars, all the way down to the material world, with the speech of Shesha, who means the remainder. They're all in the mood of service. They have identity, abhiman, which means that I'm a servant of Krishna. Everybody in the spiritual world everyone in the spiritual world, every expansion of Krishna has that mood. We're expansions of Krishna, and most living entities have that mood also. There's only a few that don't, and they hang out down on Colfax. Or any other avenue of the world, or the universe. And so there's a way in which when we turn away from Colfax, except for your center, Vrinda, we can take shelter there, which, by the way, is available right now. We turn towards Krishna and we say, my new name is Das. That's my identity. As we discussed last night, Krishna says, Brahmanyadaya karmani sangam tyakva korotiya, lipitena sapapena padma patrami bambasa. Live like a lotus in the world. How do you do that? I'm a servant of Krishna. Nothing is mine. All paraphernalia I have, and you can have a Volkswagen or a Porsche or I don't know what you have now, Nitai, but you can have whatever. It doesn't matter. Anything you have is paraphernalia to be used in Krishna service. Everything is Krishna's. And this is the mood of Das, and taking on a new spiritual name, a new spiritual identity. And then comes mantra. Mantra means that you take very seriously the personal worship of the Lord. There's a pancharatric system, which is the essential activities that one lives by, codes of life and activities that one lives by to worship the personality of the Lord. Pancharatra. It actually means 5 nights, because Brahma had been Vedaduha Bhati Balo Madhu Kaitabhakyo. It's described in Prahlad Maharaj's prayers, Madhu and Kaitaba. It's kind of an interesting story, but Brahma had been imparted, Krishna had imparted Vedic knowledge into the mind and heart of Brahma, and Madhu and Kaitaba came while Brahma was sleeping, and they stole it. So in 5 nights, Hayagriva came and re-spoke the Vedic knowledge. He gave it in a form that could be propagated. And the kind of pancharatric system that we follow mostly comes from Narada Muni. And part of that is to accept as one's meditation, daily meditation, at least 3 times a day, esoteric mantras, which you've already received from your guru. And you receive these mantras, of course you can get them from a book, but they won't be effectual. And the example given is the sparrows who live around the banyan trees. They're part of the ecosystem of the banyan. And they take the seeds from the banyan tree, eat them, digest them, pass them out, and then they sprout. So in a similar way, says the Shastra, when you accept these esoteric mantras, you must accept the mood of them. The mood is the mood of devotion to Krishna, offering one's heart to Krishna. And then these mantras help to bring one closer and closer in a heartfelt way to the worship of the personality of Godhead. So you've received those mantras, and you're sitting for your the final aspect of taking those on by the order of your guru, who asked you to sit for the fire today. That's mantra. And you get 7 mantras to chant every day, 3 times a day. And then finally comes, in Bhaktivinoda Thakur's paradigm, yaga, which means you enter into deity worship. When you've gone through the various purificatory stages, you can then attend the form of the Lord as a pujari and so forth. So today, Ian is taking vows that he will chant Hare Krishna every day, having studied the science over several years, having proved himself by keeping his vows over several years, and receiving high acclaim from those that have observed him. And he'll be coming up here in a few minutes and taking these vows. And to finish the thought about initiation, second initiation, Harinam initiation, is important in the sense that although Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur says in his commentary to the 6th canto of the Srimad Bhagavatam in the matter of Jamil, that if there's a Vaishnava Sampradaya and there are Vaishnavas who are chanting Hare Krishna faithfully and have received the Hare Krishna Mahamantra through the disciplicate line, and they're available for you to take the mantra under their guidance, which means also Sambandha Gyan. When you're chanting Hare Krishna, you also need Sambandha Gyan. Just like when you take medicine, if you go to the pharmacy, when you get the prescription in that little white bag, they send you to another window a little further down, and a trained pharmacologist comes over and tells you what's in it. They don't tell you what's in it. They just tell you how to take it and give you some other information about other things not to do. And in a similar way, Bhaktivinoda Thakur says, When you take seriously the process of chanting Hare Krishna, you should accept it from a guru, a Vaishnava guru. He says, interestingly, that if there is a guru available who can give you the mantra, and you decide not to take it, and just say, I'll just chant on my own, he said, then next life you can get a guru. He said, in this life, it's the offense, the third offense, which is disrespecting the spiritual master, the orders of the spiritual master. He puts it in that category. So it's not just chanting, but it's chanting in the right mood that counts. And one should be in a humble mood of subservience, that I'm taking this from Krishna through a bona fide representative who's taken it from a bona fide representative. And in that way, when one chants in that mood, under the shelter of the disciplic succession and a particular guru, an individual personal guru, then Bhaktivinoda Thakur mentions in the Harinam Chintamani, one can attain prema by chanting Hare Krishna. So chanting Hare Krishna is the essential process for the Krishna consciousness movement. Man means mind, and tra means to deliver. All suffering comes from the mind, and our involvement with the material world, which is always changing, comes from our own mind. All yoga has the objective of controlling the mind. There are various ideas about that. Some say become desireless, some say make the mind completely still. But the process that we follow, based on the Bhagavad Gita, is to think of Krishna. The ultimate meditation is to fix one's mind on the Supreme Personality of Godhead. And in the science of chanting mantra, the mantra itself is the direct manifestation or avatar of Krishna. So when we chant the names of Krishna, we're directly in contact with him. And we can think about how powerful sound vibration is in this world and how it reveals various aspects of the material world. For instance, ultrasound. Sound vibration, right? Consult my doctor in the front row. You can see inside the body, for instance, if a woman is pregnant, you can use ultrasound to see what the baby looks like inside. And the ocean looks opaque. It is opaque. It's impossible to see what's in the ocean, but if you use sonar, you can see deep into the ocean. You can observe various forms and understand the geography, if that's the proper term, of the ocean. And then we have mantra. And mantra resonates with the soul. And in the Srimad Bhagavatam, it's mentioned, Vishrujati hridayam yasya saksha darir avasha, abhihito pigo ganasha, pranaya rasanaya virtangri padma, sabhavati bhavata, pradana ukta. This is a verse from 11th Canto, 2nd chapter, 55th verse, where it talks about the holy name of Krishna, the mantra, the Hare Krishna mantra especially. And it says that when you chant Hare Krishna, everyone please say Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna. Even if you say it accidentally, like some people, they'll hear somebody chanting Hare Krishna and they'll walk by and say, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna. That counts. Or if they come out and they say, Hare Krishna, we don't like Hare Krishna, please go away. That counts. And if somebody names their motorcycle shop Hare Krishna Motorcycle, that counts. If somebody hears Hare Krishna and later says it in a dream, that counts. There are ways in which the holy name is live. It's highly influential. So Vishrujati hridayam yasya sakshad, because the Lord is personally present in his name and he's there within your heart. Darir avasha abhihito pyagoganata. The verse says that if somebody chants Hare Krishna even accidentally, then Krishna is inclined, because he's so considerate and kind, to remove all kinds of past sinful reactions, karma, from that person's life. What to speak of it then says, Pranaya Rasanaya Drichangri Padma, that if you chant with love, and there are a lot of verses like this using the logic of what to speak of. If it does this, then what about if you did it like that, is the logic behind it. It says Pranaya Rasanaya means that if you chant with love, or if you chant under a vow as you're doing, it's a very high concept that you say, I'm doing this for the rest of my life, and I'm going to do it diligently, and I'm going to avoid offenses in the manner of chanting, there are 10, then such a person, pranaya rasanaya, dhritangri padma, angri means the lotus feet of Krishna, said, your chanting with love, with a vow, ties Krishna's lotus feet with a rope of love. And what is the implication? He can't get away. That's mentioned elsewhere in the Bhagavatam, and Dharma Prochi Kaita Votra Paramo Nirmat Saranam Satyam Sadyo Hridya Varudite Trakritibi Shushrushabhistakshanat. There's a way in which the Bhagavatam opens by saying, if you listen to this book with love, then Krishna will be so attracted to you, he won't be able to get away from you. He'll be stuck in your heart, trapped, or as Prabhupada says, packed up tight in your heart and can't get away. How powerful is the chanting of Hare Krishna and listening to the sound vibration? Brahma says, Jnani prayasamura pasyanamanta eva jivanti sadmukharita pavadiya vartam stane stita shrutikatam tanuvan manobir ye prayaso jitta jito prayasitraista trilokyam. He says Krishna is named Ajita, he's unconquerable, he's God. But if you develop love for him by hearing about him, chanting his names, then Ajita becomes Jita, conquered. And bhakti means Krishna is attracted to the love of his devotees. In fact, he becomes controlled by that. So the supreme controller, Ajita, becomes controlled by the devotee. So the efficacy of chanting Hare Krishna is mentioned. I've just given a few summary ideas. And it's a good idea to chant Hare Krishna. It's a really good idea. In fact, Rupa Goswami summarizes it by saying, Nikila Shruti Male Ratnamala Dutini Rajita Pada Pankajanta Aimukta Kalera Pasyamanam Harinama Samshayami. That he says, if you look through all the Shrutis, in fact, he gives a scenario. He said, the crown jewels of all the Vedas, the unlimited Vedic teachings, are the Upanishads. And if you sneak in for Mangalartik when the Upanishads personified are doing artik, and you look in on them, who are they worshipping? The tips of the toes of the lotus feet of the holy name. And then he says, Ai mukta kalera pasyamanam. All liberated people do this. He said, then why not you? So you'll become liberated by chanting Hare Krishna. You will become perfected. You'll attain the perfection of life. And also, the Hare Krishna mantra is highly portable. You can take it out in the public. You can take it to Colfax. You can take it to the Mission District in San Francisco. Any shout-outs for your region?
Montrose.
Where?
Montrose.
Montrose, Houston. You take it to Houston. Mountaintops. Venice Beach. Yeah, if you get it going at Venice Beach, you can get it going anywhere, right? And that's the other aspect of Harinam initiation and the initiation in general, is following in the footsteps of Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, who brought the holy name. He had two parts to it. One is chant Hare Krishna, that's number one. What's number one?
Chant Hare Krishna.
And number two is teach it to others. What's number two?
Teach it to others.
This is your last quiz before you get initiation. Number one is?
Chant Hare Krishna.
Number two?
Teach it to others.
1, 2, 2. 2, 1, 1, 2. If we wake you up at 1 in the morning and we say, what's Lord Chaitanya's mission? You'll say,
Charity.
Teach it to others. So that's the other aspect, is that Prabhupada considered these initiations also promotions into the corporation, into the army. He gave different metaphors for our organization. And the main purpose is to follow the footsteps of the sages in Naimisharanya. Their main question for their 1,000-year seminar was how to do the highest good for every living entity. And that's the ultimate purpose of our organization. Do good for yourself by becoming refined and develop love for Krishna within your heart, and then go and distribute it even before you have pure love for Krishna within your heart. When you have some enthusiasm and some knowledge, go and distribute it to as many people as possible. Okay? Say yes. We need a verbal yes. Verbal yes. Okay. So now we'd like to honor Nitai and Ananda Gopika. You can stand up just for a second. We want to honor the fact that they accepted Harinam initiation many years ago, and they've been diligently helping spread the Krishna conscious movement. Recently, their very exalted guru, who's a direct disciple of Srila Prabhupada and is famous all over the world, had given him these esoteric mantras in private, and now they're dedicated to chanting them. And I have the great honor of sitting with these two great souls at this fire sacrifice, so we'd like to honor them that they're accepting their Diksha, that they've accepted their Diksha mantras and now they're consecrating the process. Hare Krishna. And now we'd like whomever has been delegated to put neck beads on Bhakta Ian. Who is that? Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. So these beads are made from the wood of a tulsi tree. In bhakti, we associate ourselves with all the paraphernalia and personalities that are mentioned in the scripture as being there in the spiritual world. So Tulsi is one of the organizers of Krishna's Leela in the spiritual world, and that's a very esoteric topic, so I won't say more than that, except for the Tulsi plant is the manifestation of Tulsi in this world. I won't say more than that, except for anywhere you go. You can tell where Vaishnavas live, because even if they live in an urban situation, you might find their Tulsi in the parking lot, in the sunny part. The devotees go to great lengths in order to maintain Tulsi nicely. And from the Tulsi plant we make beads, and when you wear them around your neck, 2 strands means you're aspiring for initiation, and 3 means you've accepted Harinam initiation. So if you haven't accepted initiation, you got more strands, we'll cut a few off for you. But with 3, the Tulsi beads means it's one of the symbols of a Vaishnava, and wherever you go, if you walk into some unknown place, you're on a long ride somewhere, someone will see your neck beads at the 7-Eleven or whatever, and they'll say, Haribol! And then you realize, yeah, I better be good. Because I'm representing Krishna. This is part of Urdhva Pundra. I'm showing myself as an example of a Vaishnava. I have a guru. It means I have a guru, so I have to follow my guru. I have to, wherever I am, even at 7-Eleven. So everywhere you go, you're showing that, yes, this is my designation. I'm a Vaishnava. I'm an aspiring devotee. I'm working under the direction of the disciplic succession. And then we will next ask Tushta Krishna Prabhu to say a few words about Bhakta Ian, because you've seen him here. And you've mentioned to me many times about his character and how much you appreciate him. So it would be an appropriate time to say something right now. I'll share this microphone since I think we only have one.
Just, two things come to my mind. One is, there's a reference where Srila Prabhupada says, disciple means discipline. Otherwise, what is the meaning of disciple? So throughout the years, getting to know Ian, first when he was coming around, and then slowly more and more, even you were living farther away, about 20 minutes away drive. I've noticed he could still drive here, get here around 5:15, 5:20. And then him and Sandy were discussing moving closer so that they can get here more regularly. So just appreciating this aspect of your character, the sense of discipline. I take it very seriously, very regulated. And then also anyone who has served in a leadership position or any managerial arena, there's this phrase, a go-to person. And you have a person that you can just go to when things need to get done. It's incredibly helpful in the realm of trust, accountability, getting things done, knowing that you don't have to oversee it if you're not present. So everything from organizing kirtans to harinams to, my son wanted his bike painted, he painted his bike, whatever it might be, organizing the Wednesday night program, emceeing the Sunday feast, and especially one thing that's very helpful. Today we had so many people present for Mangalarti, Guru Puja, and it's wonderful, like Janmashtami and these celebrations. But what it really shows is the day-to-day, who's showing up every day. And he doesn't even live here. He works, just like many people, 40 hours or more a week. And he's married, he has other responsibilities. And yet he gets up every day, and when I know he's in town, then I know, all right, Shringar Arti, Japa period, and Guru Puja are covered. When he's not here, I'm texting everyone, hey Prabhus, someone's got to show up because Ian's not here. So when I do that, it just shows that this person is a very foundational core of our community, in that it's almost like if he's not here, I'm in anxiety. Sometimes I'll be doing the arti, or Bala's doing the arti, and then running out for the kirtan from the altar. So anyways, those 2 points of just him holding such an important space for keeping things going, many aspects of our community, and then his sense of discipline. So thank you for
Thank you for making yourself indispensable. It's a good way to go. Distinguish yourself in service. So now we'll invite you to come up and make your vows and accept your initiated beads. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. You can sit right here, please. And thank you very much for taking this step. It's world-changing, life-changing, obviously, but also world-changing. Most people go on, Krishna says in the Bhagavad Gita, by the dictation of the 3 modes of material nature. But you, on the other hand, have made a decision to sign up for Krishna's program. Sarvadharman parityaja mamekam sharanam vraja. Aham tom sarva papibhyo mukshayishami masuja. Krishna offers, just surrender to me, I'll protect you, don't worry about anything. So thank you. And thank you for setting such an example. And My wife, Nyarkula, and I especially have been appreciating talking about you, and from our hearts, we pray that you have all success in your devotional career, and that you and Sandy, who are an amazing couple together, so supportive of one another, and so compatible, at least from what we've seen. It's an amazing relationship that you have, that you may excel in all ways in your life and help one another to advance towards the supreme destination. Om Tat Sat. Everyone agrees with this prayer in whole or in part. Please say Hare Krishna. Please tell us what vows you've come here to make today.
Hare Krishna. So I'm vowing to not consume any meat, fish, or eggs, to abstain from any intoxicants, to not gamble or speculate, and to abstain from illicit sex for the rest of my life in this body. And I'm also vowing to chant 16 rounds of the Hare Krishna Maha Mantra every day for the rest of my life with the best attention I can give.
Bhakti Ian, for the last time. Following the eternal principle of Parampara, taking Srila Prabhupada's and Lord Chaitanya's order to expand the Sankirtan movement as my life and soul, and depending on their mercy, the mercy of the previous acharyas, and all the Vaishnava devotees of the Lord who are like desire trees, I'm exceedingly pleased to accept you as my disciple, and therefore a grand disciple of His Divine Grace, A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada, and a member of the Brahma Madhva Gaudiya Sampradaya. May all the previous acharyas and the ocean of mercy, Lord Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, shower you with their grace. Your name is a Sanskrit name which appears in Scripture, and it refers to Krishna's unlimited avatars. I very joyfully award you the name Ishavatara Das. This is proof of purchase. Ishavatara Das. This is, you see it inside, it's described. Isha means the Supreme Personality of Godhead, and Avatara. So you put the two together. Ishavatara. 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 Ian? No. Ishavatara. Ishavatara. Ishavatara Das Prabhu Ki. You can leave these here for now. And now you please take your seat again over there. And I'm going to change roles and sit down here to perform the fire ceremony. So if we have a kirtaniya who will chant some sweet melody right now, as soon as possible, with no break, then I'll get the fire ceremony ready.